This video is designed to demonstrate the use of the Tool for Assessing Statistical Capacity 2.1 digital version, also known as the TASC Digital. The TASC Digital facilitates entering task responses via the web to generate the assessment results in the form of informative tables and charts that can be used in a presentation to the National Statistical Office, also known as the NSO, or other stakeholders.
Hello and welcome to this instructional video for administrators on how to use the digital version of the Tool for Assessing Statistical Capacity 2.1, also known as TASC Digital. TASC Digital utilizes Google Forms to collect NSO expert responses to TASC 2.1 questionnaire forms and records all responses in linked Google Sheets. There are three main stages in the TASC Digital process: preparation, distribution, and analysis. Today, we'll be guiding you through the preparation process before online distribution of digital forms, compilation of questionnaire responses, and the analysis process to produce an assessment of the statistical capacity of an NSO. The steps in the preparation section must be completed twice to build a Google Sheet and Google Form for both individual responses and group responses. Therefore, the administrator must create two spreadsheets in two forms, one for individual and one for group responses, before administering the task. To start, it is important to note that you must have a Google account to access the digital task files. Google accounts are free and easy to create. A Google account will enable you to save all task-related forms and sheets to your personal Google Drive. This drive is a cloud storage and file sharing platform that allows you to create, save, and edit content on the web. To begin preparing the TASC Digital files, go to the International Program Center website and open the TASC 2.1 Digital Instructions. This document provides detailed instructions and hyperlinks to the digital files needed for TASC Digital administrators to create, copy, link, and administer the digital task. After logging into your Google account, go to Step 2 to find the hyperlink to the original sheet file. This is where the form responses will be collected. We will start by making a copy of the task original sheet for individual responses. Please note, later we will make another copy of this file for group responses. Click the Make a Copy button and wait for it to load. You will notice that the sheet includes dummy data in the Example Responses tab. This data will be overwritten once we link the sheet and the form. Next, we'll make a copy of the task original form. Go to Step 3 and click on the link provided to the task original form. Make a copy using the blue Make a Copy button. Great! Now that both files have been loaded, let's rename them to Task NSO Individual Sheet and Task NSO Individual Form, respectively. In practice, you may want to use the name of the organization or the country instead of NSO. Next, we need to link the form and sheet. In the newly created form, click on Responses. To create a spreadsheet where the form responses will be stored, click on Link to Sheets. Choose the Select Existing Spreadsheet option, and then select the renamed Task NSO sheet file previously created. A new linked tab in the sheet will populate in your browser. Close the first sheet with dummy data to avoid confusion. In the newly created sheet, there will be a tab called Form Responses 2 that pulls data from the linked form. Rename it to Responses Individual NSO by clicking on the arrow and selecting Rename. Be sure to add underscores between each word. Click on the Transpose Responses tab. In cell B1, enter the name of the tab previously created. Ensure that what you type in cell B1 exactly matches the name of the tab created both before in spelling and in case capitalization. If the name does not match, your sheet will not recognize which tab of data it is meant to transpose. Once you've linked the form and sheet, go to the form and click on the Send button in the top right corner. Be sure to check the box to shorten the URL before copying the survey form link. A tip here is to paste the link to the individual form somewhere handy to avoid confusion with the link to the group form that will be created next. To collect group responses, repeat all the steps you did to create the individual sheet and form, and be sure to rename the new group task sheet and forms to appropriate names, such as Task NSO Group Form and Task NSO Group Sheet. Once you have created the links, send the link for individuals to all participants. After they have completed submitting their responses for the individual round, and you have assigned participants to various groups, send one group link to each group where they respond together as a team. Once the responses have been compiled in the sheets, you can transfer the individual and group response data to the task results calculator. The TASC 2.1 Digital Results Calculator can also be downloaded from the International Programs Center website. Now that we have set up the TASC Digital, let's see it in action. Let's say a respondent has submitted responses for the data processing module for the questionnaire form. To view the data from this respondent, go to the Data Processing tab of the individual sheet and find their responses quantified here in this column. Here, you'll see all the inputs and responses that you've recorded. To calculate results, simply copy and paste the map numbers in each tab of those spreadsheets into the corresponding tab in the TASC Digital Results Calculator Excel file. For instance, for the example responses we just looked at, we can copy these numbers from the Data Processing tab, go into the Results Calculator to the Data Processing tab, scroll over to the right to see the individual scores, and then paste those numbers here. If you scroll down, you will see in the summary the individual score from the data that we have inputted. You can see that the values are automatically updated as more data is inputted. Now you can use the results from the Summary of Scores table and chart tabs to assess the statistical capacity of the organization. For instance, in this results calculator, since we only inputted one set of data, you can see in the Summary of Scores tab that this is the only module that has been updated. Similarly, you can see in the module score, only data processing has automatically generated data, and in the chart, you can see that only data processing is included in the visualization. Here's an example of a completed task calculator. The summary score sheet provides a good overview of the results of the task. The breakdown of scores by module provides the best way to identify areas of strength and weakness of an NSO. A total score for the task is calculated at the top of the Summary of Scores tab. This score is broken into two parts, an institutional capacity score and a score that summarizes the operational modules by group and individual responses. Overall, the individual and group scores should be similar. When they differ, experiences in multiple countries indicate that the group scores tend to provide a more objective assessment of the level of capacity of an NSO than the individual scores. The decision of whether to focus on the individual or the group scores should be made by the facilitator based on his or her observations during the administration of the task. The administrator may refer to the task manual for more details about comparing group and individual scores. Please note that the mobile data capture sheet is not an operational module. Instead, it combines the scores from questions distributed in several modules to evaluate the readiness of an NSO to use digital devices in the field for data collection. If any of the questions are unanswered, the total score will show as NA or not available in the score summary. TASC results are visualized effectively on the Chart Module Score tab, which contains bar charts showing group and individual scores across all modules. Please note that the Table Module Score tab controls the modules shown on the Chart Module Score tab. If you wish to remove any of the modules from the charts, use a column filter by clicking the drop-down arrow in the module column and deselecting any modules you do not want in the charts. For example, if I deselect 11, Mobile Data Capture Summary, the Chart tab automatically updates to reflect this filtering. Because the NSO dedicates time and resources to the administration of the task, the results should be made available to the organization. It is ideal the facilitator can present a summary of the results to the NSO the day after the administration of the task. It is recommended that the presentation includes overall results using the group or individual charts in the Chart Module Score tab. The presentation should also include a breakdown of the overall areas of strength and weakness, as the NSO may be able to use these results to make a case to stakeholders who may be interested in knowing whether the NSO has a need in a specific area. Finally, there should be an explanation of the areas of strength and weakness. Following the visit to the NSO, the facilitator should develop a written report documenting the findings of the task to conclude the assessment. Thank you for watching this instructional video on how to use the TASC Digital. For inquiries and additional information, please contact the International Program Center of the U.S. Census Bureau. Here is the physical address and the email address. And with that, we end our presentation. Thank you for your attention.
The U.S. Census Bureau's task was sponsored by the United States Agency for International Development.